Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Like I promised you guys, did you know that 40% of jobs are at high risk of being automated, leaving millions of professionals vulnerable to career shocks? What do I mean by career shocks? Losing your job because of automation through AI. But there's a secret to smoothing out your that shocks, right? My personal view is future proof your career by starting a side hustle. Yes, yes, starting a side hustle. Now, let me dive into this and give you some really, really valuable tips. So, in this video, I'm going to give you some tips, some knowledge, some know hows about how to do this really, really well. No, I'm not talking about creating and buying a real estate. I'm not talking about, no, I'm talking about just building a side hustle, tangible side hustle while you're working. So let's begin. Lesson one: choose a side hustle that aligns with your current career goals. So think about what your career goals are. And if you don't have a side hustle right now, some people like to say they're passionate about something, so they create a side hustle from it. Great. But if you don't have one and you're thinking about how should I go about it, I would say think about the career path you're in right now and choose a side hustle that's aligned with your career goals. So this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. I'm currently working. I'm doing these things. You can start a side hustle. The easiest way to do that is to start a side hustle that aligns with your career goal. I think it works really, really well a lot of times because why? Um, Give an example. I have started in banking. I'm currently basically a lecturer teaching, right? So for me, over the years, I've built up this really, really, really skill set where I can articulate pretty well, public speaking, teach. So what? I can just build courses. So it's easy for me to say, okay, I'm going to build a course and sell it. And whatever I get from it, $1,000, $2,000, it's okay, right? It's a side hustle. I can even do more than that. I can basically talk to people who are in the edtech space and do consulting work for them because I know I have knowledge of the edtech space, basically. But I can also do that in banking. Really, really powerful, right? So I'm creating side hustle that align with my career goals. Basically, those are things I'm doing. I can also, which I actually do, basically. Help people build their career path because I have been in three different industries, worked in three different banking, basically entrepreneurship, education. So I can literally talk to people and create really dynamic talk about how do you pivot in your career and pivot successfully. So I can create courses around that as well as I can do coaching around that. So I can create these side hustles based on the career goals. So I would encourage you to really, really, really think about that. So just ask yourself, what is it that you're doing? Where are the missing gap? What are the skills that I have? And you can literally just decide to create a side hustle. So if you're in tech, think about freelancing in coding or a UI UX designer, basically. Or you can even build a consulting brand, right? There's a lot of people, there's some amazing people that are doing some wonderful things continuously across the age. By the way, just go on YouTube and just search some of these people. They're amazing just to see what they're doing, basically. And they're doing it full time. So you can just like, oh, let me just take a small thing from this basically, and create it. So if you're in marketing, wow, social media marketing, you can do social media management. You can start writing content for people. You can do personal branding service. So there's so many things that you can do. Basically, there's so many things you can do, depending on the industry you are. Like I just said, education, right? I'm telling you basically what I've done. I'm doing different type of coaching, whether it's I do course creation. I'm advising people who are in academic around how to build their career path and how to pivot if they want to pivot. So I can do all these things you can do. So again, just think about it. If you're in sales or customer service, start an affiliate marketing, start a e-commerce, launch a little small business that is selling something on eBay or somewhere, basically. So you understand sales, you understand customer service. There's some great books out there that you can look at. You can start a YouTube channel. There is wonderful people out there that you can see that starting YouTube channel. There's, I think probably I don't have to mention any name, but you guys have probably heard a lot of these really, really, really great people that are teaching you how to build an affiliate market, or they're teaching you how to build a YouTube channel. So it's wonderful for you to do that, basically. So I would say, again, just think about it, right? So if you're a marketing professional and you realize that, okay, I'm in a space that is it's slowing down, there's things going on, you can literally just start expanding your portfolio, like start building leadership skills and thinking about how do I offer social media marketing on the side as a manager, like manage 4 or 5 different social media platforms. So it's a wonderful way for you to create a side hustle that is aligned with your career goals. So again, just think about some of these things as you go along, right? Just make sure that you are being proactive than being reactive. I was listening to this podcast and they were talking about the reactiveness versus proactive, and they gave a really really good way of thinking about this, right? So most people are playing checkers, right? So when you play checkers, if you know, basically you're just moving one move at a time, right? That's all checkers is. Like a pretty, to use the word old text space, it's pretty one dimensional linear move, right? So you just one step, so basically. But what you want to start doing is playing chess, right? Where you're thinking 4 or 5 moves, basically. So it doesn't matter who's in power or which what's going on in the market, what's the financial market is doing, whether terrorists are not. You're like 5 moves ahead of this thing, basically. So start playing chess, basically, and stop playing checkers. Stop being reactive to this thing, right? Start doing that. So that's what I would really advise you to start looking at. Second lesson I would say is use your side hustle as a career safety net. It's not just about going out and making money, right? Okay, fine. So you're making some money and that's great. But it's more of think of it as an insurance policy, basically. This thing is ensuring that if there's a negative income shock, you get laid off, inflation jumps 7, 10%, those type of income shocks, basically, especially the layoff piece, or you get downsized or something. There's this thing that you're doing that will keep your income like right there, basically. So how do you do it? Basically, I would say just think about, okay, like I said before, start a side hustle that align with what you're doing. Dedicate 5 or 10 hours per week. This is not a lot of big demand, right? 5, 10 hours per week, basically just growing your skills, building a client base. Obviously, you have to be on social media to build a client base, right? We're talking about uh, global demand. You're posting on social media, and this is the largest, I would say, ecosystem to build a global brand, and therefore your demand for your product is global. So yes, you have to be on social media to build a brand. And don't be afraid. Listen, I'm here talking to you right now. For years, I just didn't want to do this. Basically, I was like, oh, do I need to find time to sit in front of the camera? I can tell you, I love to be outdoors. Basically, I want to be outdoor running. So sitting down for half an hour to an hour just making a YouTube video was not my thing. But I honestly, I've learned from some really, really great people on social, online, on YouTube, that it is valuable to just like give back and teach people through this medium. And a lot of people are saying, why don't you do this, Glenn? You can teach, you can articulate the things you're saying well, provide some real content to people that wants it, some valuable content, right? So I would say spend 5 to 10 hours per week. This is not a big demand from your schedule. Like onboarding the right skills and creating a client base. So again, just think about that and stay really really connected to the industry trends. Like see what's going on. We're talking about there's so many things going on. By the way, we can't escape some of the things that's going on right now, in particularly and especially AI. AI has made this thing, the productivity from AI. When we talk about productivity, basically, that you're getting from using AI tools today is exponential. So I would say start using these tools so that this 5 to 10 hours that you're actually spending building your thing is really, you can, the output is just unbelievable. So that input, you're getting unbelievable 10x. 20x output if you use AI. So I would really encourage you to use AI in basically, so make sure that you're on thinking about all the trends that's going on, industry trends that's going on in terms of what are the valuable tools. It also makes you a really good job candidate when you can articulate these things in a job interview. It really, really gives you some good. So again, just think about it, Dave, right? If you're a manager and things are going on and you're like trying to understand what's going on, if you can really figure out how to be like a virtual consultant while doing your job search, right? Expand your freelance business while you're doing your job search. You're learning and onboarding some really, really skill. You're stacking skills at the same time that will actually help you to be a better job candidate. And you also have some career mobility, right? Because you don't need to stay in one place at all to do this. So I would really encourage you just to like um, go ahead and do this. And third, basically, and again, you notice all of these things are timed. So the third lesson is to build your personal brand outside of your 9 to 5. It's something I personally didn't do well in the beginning of my career in terms of building my personal brand outside of my 9 to 5. And I think that was a detriment. Basically, I could have probably been further along in my career path and doing some wonderful things. But I always basically had this idea that even when I was consulting on the side, I never basically created a personal brand. So I never had it, a digital brand. Never had that. So even when I'm working and I probably do some consulting on the side, I never actually created a personal brand. And I started doing this around, I'd probably say 2018, 19, just because people encouraged me to do it. And I started thinking about it. And I would advise you what I did. And again, you don't have to follow, you have to do what I say. I started with a place that I felt was really, really reasonable to me: LinkedIn. I basically started with LinkedIn. I looked at it and I said, okay, this is the fit. Um, the business professionals. And I just started doing that. And I really went from in 2018, 2019, my LinkedIn page was probably around 300 followers. It was really sad. I didn't have a picture. And I just sat down one day and I was just like, okay, remember, I couldn't forget one of my students said, let me take a picture of you, professor. And I did. And I just put up that picture basically. And I went from like 300 followers to like 17,000 followers currently to date, basically. Just start posting regularly. Made a lot of mistakes with it. It's fine. You're going to make mistakes. It's okay. But because I have reasonable good content, and I know most of you have valuable things you want to tell people, because I had that, people wanted to hear what I was saying. And therefore, I created a really good following. Basically, went from 3,000 to 17,000, 300 to 17,000 connections. Really good connections. People that I am learning from, and also people I'm sharing my insights and industry knowledge that they're actually liking. So I think it's really, 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 really. And again, do some speaking engagement when you can. During that time, I remember start speaking at a couple of things. I haven't done much recently since the pandemic, basically, but I was able to really fascinating. And it's funny because I started doing LinkedIn. Started doing my YouTube channel in the pandemic, but I was using my company's YouTube channel, and I because I didn't really know or understand how this online digital world works. I had to learn that. That was a big mistake. I should have started building my own personal brand on YouTube as well, basically. So that was also a big mistake. But we learned those things, and so just, and again, I'm not the expert in the whole YouTube space. So just whatever I say to you, just like go out and learn from other people as well. There's a guy named Ali Abdal that people talk about. That's probably one of the, and I think I really I identify with him. I liked him, and he's really, you know, smart guy. Basically, really nice, really genuine about what he says. I don't know him, basically, I never met him, but I watch his videos a lot and really understand it. And he's into the YouTube things. He's been in YouTube, but he has a very professional background. He was a doctor, he built his own thing. So, it's really good just to kind of see and see who resonates with you, because there are a lot of people out there, right? There's a lot. So if you're building this thing, see who resonates with you, take a look at it, take a dive, and just like, okay, so for me, I have to be comfortable with the people that I resonate with. So I say, okay, I really like them. So I will watch these people and I learn from individual people things that I want to learn, basically. Like, okay, I want to learn this. I don't want to have a million followers on. I I know people might think this is weird, but I'm not. I don't want to have a million followers on YouTube. Basically, I'm comfortable with a couple hundred. If I'm adding value to you and you like it, and basically that's what it is, I'm great. So you don't need to. I'm not. I don't. I'm not a creator. Basically, you have to make up your mind. If you This is basically what I'm doing, and I like doing it, and I'm enjoying doing it. I love to share insights and knowledge and industry knowledge with people. So you just identify that, right? Some people doing things and they have, and they talk about it and they have 5 million followers and all these weird things. And if they have 5 million followers and, you know, 100 of them are participating or enjoying what I'm saying and like it, why do I need a million followers? I really don't. I'm sorry. I really don't. I'm just like, no, I'm not, I don't want to do that, basically. So it's really just understanding the people. And again, some of these people are massive following, and there's nothing wrong with it. They understand how to manage it. They understand how to use it pretty well. So if that's you and you can do it pretty well, okay, great. Basically, so just do that. But the key is not to just have people following you just because. That's not what you're doing. Quite frankly, you're here to find a group of people that you can create valuable content for, educate them on certain things. In return, they like it, so they're willing to pay you for it, and you create a side hustle. Value for money. That's basically what you're doing. You know, you don't I, you don't want to sit there with 10 million followers just because, and you're not making any money. Why are you doing that? That doesn't make any sense. You're better off just getting a part-time job then, if basically, so you can do that. And again, nothing wrong with having a part-time job. Like, be very practical about some of these things, right? If you think, oh, this part-time job aligns with my career path as well, you can do that. So again, there's nothing wrong with that, basically. So all these things. So in the beginning, I did a few speaking engagements where, basically on the side I'd make some investments. I would go to some conferences and I'll speak, basically. Then after a while, I realized, oh, I don't want to do that. Basically, if I'm going to do speaking engagement, I really want it to resonate with the things that I'm saying. There are better investors out there that can speak around some of these things. But if I can go on webinars and certain panels that has to do with what I want to do. So I'm pretty selective nowadays in terms of why I want to do it, and if I want to do it. Basically, I want to just like, oh, do this just because. Because again, if I get 10,000 people following me and you know they're not resonating with what I want to deliver as content, then it really doesn't make any sense, right? It's just like, okay, a waste of time, right? Why are you just sitting there, basically? So like, I follow a lot of different ones that I like. Basically, sometimes I don't have time to watch them. So when I do have time, I'll sit back and I'll listen to them, and it's really engaging. There's this guy now that I'm listening to, and he's really good about communication and all those things. And I think this is a way for me to level up my communication skills, even though people say, "Oh, you're really good at this," but I still think I can learn more. I still think I can level up more. So I'm watching this guy, basically. I can drop his name down there. Basically, I'm not going to name drop on this thing. It's just because I really enjoy the way he goes about this communication and building this communication thesis and talking about public speaking. So, like, basically, and then also start becoming a thought leader. Start writing blogs. I've always written blogs. Basically, I've been writing blogs for quite a while. Medium has been around, so I've been doing it. And I used to just write like once or 2 weeks, basically, when I had time. But the last 4 years, I've been really intentional. 5 years, I've been really intentional about trying to write at least once a week, basically. And again, I never had an Instagram present before, but I felt like I did really, okay, fine. I've done what I want to do on LinkedIn. I can get better. I can get more, but I start expanding across it because I feel like we're in this on the universe right now where, and I know a lot of people might disagree with this, but I think that if you're going to reach people, just find a way to get on all the platforms. So I'm not active on TikTok. I really That's the one platform I'm not really on. But I try to post on Instagram. And again, I'm doing more branding. I'm not really like I'm doing more community building, trying to build a personal brand and my community brand. That's where I'm working. So I think you guys can think about that, right? So obviously start creating your YouTube videos. I know this is a tricky one. My students struggle with this. Oh wow, they struggle with the YouTube videos basically because nobody wants to be on the camera, right? But there are some people that I see doing some cool things like creating faceless videos and doing wonderful things and making money. That's for you, then great, go ahead and do it. Basically, there's nothing wrong with it until you get really comfortable in terms of okay, I can go on camera. Like I said, it took me years to get, even though I was there sitting in the standing in the classroom and just teaching. It took me years to get really comfortable with sitting in front of the camera and just start like, oh, let me just have a conversation with my audience, basically. And then when you can contribute to industry forums, so those are the space that I want to be in now. Like as opposed to said to before, I don't want to just go and get on a panel that doesn't make any sense to me just because I can. Basically, I jump on a podcast just because I cannot. Quite frankly, I apologize. Like I said to you earlier, I really can't sit down for 2 hours doing this thing. I'm going to get bored because I'm looking outside and said, oh, especially probably in the wintertime, it's okay. If it's cold, but seriously, if it's nice and warm, I want to use my time being outside going for a run. Basically, I'm fine with that. You know, go get a run outside, go outside, do some activities. But so when I'm indoor, I'm doing things. So if I'm getting a podcast or something like that, it has to resonate with and it's meaningful to what I'm basically doing. But I do understand now that is being intentional about building your brand, right? So be intentional about that and think about what works for you. So I'm teaching my students these things because I'm like they have to learn these things. It's impossible. And what I'm trying to do is expose them to all of these places. Like we went on Medium. They have never seen Medium before. It's like, whoa, so we had to write a blog and they really enjoyed it. They actually did not realize that they could have done that. Basically, I'm gonna introduce them to Beehive and Substack, basically, just so that they can see that are platforms. Um, but the one place they're really afraid of is YouTube. Like totally, totally, totally don't want to be on camera. So you have to like work with them around that, and this takes time, right? I was never an Instagram person. I just felt like it was always too high maintenance. So I felt like it's like, oh Jesus, you have to constant do. But after a while, I started figuring out, okay, how can I make this really simple? And I've learned a lot of strategies over the years. Basically, again, just from being on YouTube and listening to the experts talk about how to make this a little bit easier in terms of strategy. Because again, remember I said, right, start playing chess. We're no longer playing checkers, right? If you're listening to this video, then you're one of those persons who are thinking about how do I play chess, right? So in terms of building a content for every single platform, it's relevant, right? I would write basically my blog or my newsletter, and I would just turn those into a video, and basically just turn those also into probably a short video reel, and I put it on, say, one of my, basically Instagram. And I would say use the same content and turn that into. I'm not an expert designer stuff, so over the years I've been using Canva now for probably around 8 9 years. So I've gotten really good at it. So that's why we start these things, right? So just start and just try to improve 1% every day. Don't try to be perfect at this thing day one, right? Because that's what scares us. If you start this thing and say, hey, I am going to be the best YouTuber with 1 million followers right today, then you're never going to do this thing. It's going to paralyze you. So don't be perfect. Try not to be perfect. Just be good enough, right? Just build. And I heard this. I don't want to take credit for it because I heard it recently. Just build a minimum lovable product, basically, and that's what you need to do. And when you're writing things, because of how Medium create these things for you, find your own voice. Over the years, I keep writing to just find my own voice. Even in a world of AI, I wanted to find my own voice, my own writing style. I don't want to write like everybody else. I'm really sorry. I'm just like, okay, fine. Oh, fine. I don't like to follow the crowd. Basically, I'm always going the other direction when everybody is going one direction. I can't be bothered with that, right? Basically. So find your own writing style. Find your own voice. Like this is what it is. And in a world of AI, it doesn't matter, right? So use AI for what it is at the moment, right? It is your agent. It's not controlling you. You control it, right? So you bring your voice to it. You bring your writing style to it, and then say, "This is how I want you to write for me." If you're going to use AI, this is it. I am Glenn. You are my agent. This is what I'm writing, and then it can expand it. So when I write, I just write and put it up, and it can help you with some editing and some writing. So it just in again, it's just making you more productive, right? That's what it is. But it's not. It shouldn't be writing this thing for you at all. You should be writing it, and then it will like get it really, really ready for you in 5 minutes, as opposed to you have to go back day, editing and read it and edit and read it before it gets ready to push out. It will just get this for you, and then it will ask you, like it will tell you. I just like, oh, take this and give me some things to put in my Instagram, and it will do that, right? And oh, so I have my Instagram. That's how you go about doing this. So think about that as you're going, right? So, again, if you're a professional Instagram, sharing advice, sharing content, and remove yourself from this notion that, oh, I am only getting, you know, zero, one likes. It's irrelevant. You're not there to get likes. Start telling yourself that you're not there to get likes. No matter what people say, you're not there to get likes, right? Think about use real metrics, basically. So find a way to add value to people so that they will say, oh, I want to work with this person because of A, and then so you want revenues and potentially certain metrics. But like certain, they're fine. That's the metric they live by, and it's okay, right? Somebody come and like it, oh, great. But don't let that drive you whether to stop or not stop. It doesn't matter, right? And so the way I think of Instagram is just branding. It really does matter. It's free branding to me. I'm not paying for it. I refuse to pay for it. Basically, same thing with X because they're just branding to me. So I'm just out there pushing content out. I'm just branding. I know at some point, basically, it will become the thing, right? So I'm just like, oh, these are evergreen content. You might not see anything 2 years, 3 years, and then 4 years in, all of a sudden things go viral, right? And if it goes viral and all the people on it are not basically, I don't want them as my client, then I see no sense. So I'm not going to follow them back, or I find a way to drop them off. It's seriously, if I'm like, oh Jesus, what's the sense? Basically, it doesn't make any sense, right? So I don't want to have 10 million followers just because. Basically, some of you out there want it because you can figure out to monetize it. Great, but if some way on this world that I have 10 million followers. And by the way, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to be negative to people who have 10 million followers. There are some people who are just awesome at this. There's a guy, Stephen Bartlett. Basically, most of you probably know this guy right now. Incredible person, right? Really awesome. But he's a creator. He's one of those person that should have 10, 20 million followers because he is really good at this. For most of us who are trying to create this side hustle, let's just be okay with 1,000, 1,500. And if one day you feel like going to 10 million because things are like operating in a world that you feel like, oh, I am basically, and everybody should actually strive to be Stephen Bartlett. It's just an amazing content creator. Awesome things he's doing, right? So you can do that. You can do that. So I'm not opposed to you having that 10 million. I'm just saying in the beginning, don't think about that because it becomes debilitating. Basically, it paralyzes you. And I see it a lot. So just get started. Start thinking about how do I add value, basically, in return for certain things. Could be a company, it could be that. And just keep doing it. Keep doing it. When the time comes and it's right for you, you will know that, oh, I can actually monetize 10 million people in the way that you want. So again, I am not trying to say that you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying in the beginning, it's like getting up today and say I'm going to run a marathon. I give you 5 days and you stop. Just get up and walk a mile. Why do you care about running the marathon? Just walk a mile. And I know it's hard because social media is full of all these people that just say, "Here are 5 tips to do this," and it's just like, oh wow, okay, fine. You know it's impossible. We all know it's not possible, right? You can't become a millionaire in 5 tips. You can't run the marathon in 5 tips. It's not possible. Same way you can't build a long-term career path with 5 steps or 5 this, right? We know it's possible, right? We do these things in our blog, but we should be conscious that they're not always possible. Like most of you that I'm talking to resonate with me. You're professionals, so most of you pretty reasonably intelligent. So you're okay with just understanding some things, and you can read it and take the best thing out of it, and then you just but don't buy into it. Like, do I read some of these things? Do I listen to some of these things when you say 5 steps? Of course, I do. Like I would just look at it and I was like, okay, and I'll probably jot down one or two of them, and then I probably add it to my workout thing, or it might be a way I can get better at speaking. I might add it to my speaking, but I know it's not going to get me to run a marathon in 1 week. I know that's not reasonable. I know I'm not going to become a millionaire like in 2 days without the skills to do it. So, yeah, I mean, we're practical people, so just be reasonable. But I am not here advocating that you shouldn't want 10 million followers over, a 5 year, 6 year, 10 year period or 20 year. I'm not saying you shouldn't. You can have this really big goals. Like we want to have big goals. We want to have big dreams. But I'm just saying when we're starting, just like be comfortable with having 2, 3 followers and you just keep going and just learning. The key is to keep learning, stacking skills, like constantly on the places that you need to be to learn, looking at the best creators and see what they're doing so you can learn. And you're not trying to be them, you're just trying to be you, but just improve 1% based on what they're saying. So that's how I would advise you to basically think about how do you really and truly build a side hustle that can actually move your career path, right? So again, just to recap, right? Just think about, take control of what you want to do. Choose a side hustle today that aligns with your career goal. Dedicate a few hours each week to developing your expertise so that you can put towards your side hustle. And use the side hustle to build leverage for future job negotiation. Take control today. Listen, do me a favor. If you really found this valuable, if you find this valuable, just hit the subscribe button. YouTube is very particular about who gets access to the content. I really want this valuable content to get to you guys. So just become a subscriber. And if you like what you see, just share it with your friends. Basically, there's somebody out there probably just need to hear this. Really enjoy talking to you guys today. It was really fun. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.